Welcome back to the Press Box Podcast. Hi, this is your host, Ralph Miranda. Well, on this episode, we're going to talk a little Notre Dame, okay? The Fighting Irish are 5-2 right now after a big win a couple Saturdays ago against Southern Cal, 34-24 at home. Jeremiah Love rushing for 228 yards, total rushing over 300 yards on the day. The two running backs, Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, accounted for over 400 total yards of scrimmage. So the Irish are well positioned now at 5-2, and with their remaining schedule, it looks almost certain, barring a stubbing of their toe, that the Irish will make the college football playoff for the second straight year. This Saturday, they're at Boston College. Boston College is 1-7, not at full strength. I expect that to be an easy win. They come home on November 8th to play Navy. Navy is undefeated, but they were undefeated last year when Notre Dame played them. Navy just doesn't have the horses to keep up with Notre Dame. Then they go to Pitt. Pitt is a good football team, not a great football team. Pitt's record is 6-2 right now, but again, they don't have the team Notre Dame does. Then they come home to play Syracuse. Syracuse is 3-5. They should win that one. And then they go to Stanford. Stanford's had a couple big wins this year, but they're also 3-5. Notre Dame should handle that game as well. So the Irish should come out of this 10-2. Right now, they're ranked 12th in the AP poll. The first college football seeding poll comes out next Tuesday, November the 4th, and I expect the Irish to be somewhere around the top 12. Remember, 12 get in. Your conference champions will get an automatic bid. They won't get an automatic bye this year, but they'll get an automatic bid. But I expect Notre Dame to be in, maybe be on the cusp with this first poll, but obviously as teams ahead of them start to lose, and again, this is all assuming Notre Dame keeps winning, but as teams ahead of them start to lose, Notre Dame will creep up. They'll be in the top 12. I'm guessing they're going to be somewhere around the 9th or 10th seed when the dust settles at the end of the season. They'll probably have to go on the road the first game, but either way, they'll make the playoff. One of the things that been bothering me lately, and this has been going on for a long time, okay, is people talking about, well, Notre Dame needs to join a conference. Why don't they join a conference? It's not fair. They shouldn't be in the playoff, okay? Well, that's ridiculous, all right? First of all, whether you love Notre Dame or hate Notre Dame, let's talk about Notre Dame. Notre Dame is part of the fabric of college football, okay? Notre Dame is the mecca of college football, or whether you believe it or not, it is. Okay, and Notre Dame puts butts in the seats, okay? The networks know this, college football knows this, that if Notre Dame is a part of the discussion, then more people are going to tune in, more people are going to watch to either hate them or love them, all right? That's the first part. Second, I don't care if they're in a conference or not. The schedule you play is the schedule you play. And it's like Bill Parcells once so famously said, you are what your record says you are, okay? And if Notre Dame's 10-2, they deserve to be in the playoff, all right? And I'm tired of hearing about this. They don't play anybody because they're in a playoff. They don't have to play a conference championship game. Well, that's not Notre Dame's problem. First of all, conference championship games should be done away with. What's the purpose of a college conference championship game? What? To make money. So if you want to make money on it, don't complain. If the schools don't like it, force your conference to stop it. But they won't stop it because it makes too much money. Why do you need a conference championship game? Why don't you play everybody in your conference, okay? Forget about all these games against North Colorado State or Grambling State or Western Mountain State. Forget about those games. Play everybody in your conference. Whoever has the best record is the conference champion, and you move on to the playoff, okay? So don't complain about Notre Dame not having to play a championship game. You shouldn't have to play a championship game. Now let's look at some of the other schedules, okay? Everybody's talking about, well, Notre Dame, has an easy schedule, okay? Well, let's take a look at Ohio State's schedule for a minute, okay? Ohio State, their first game, they beat Texas, all right? Texas was ranked, I think, number 1 at that time. Where is Texas now? They're unranked, okay? So that wasn't that big. Then Ohio State proceeded to beat Grambling State in Ohio. Then they beat Washington at Washington. Okay, that's a nice win, but that's no better than Notre Dame's win over Southern Cal. Then they beat Minnesota and Illinois. Again, no better than some of Notre Dame's wins. And then they were at Wisconsin. They beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a pitiful excuse for a football team. So what's the rest of their schedule? They play Penn State, unranked. They play Purdue, unranked, who Notre Dame destroyed. They play UCLA, who's, I think, 2-5. They play Rutgers, and then they play at Michigan. By the way, Michigan's lost 3 games already, too. So you're telling me their schedule is better than Notre Dame's? Notre Dame played Texas A&M, ranked number 2 in the country, and they played Miami, who's ranked Miami is ranked, let's see, where is Miami? They're ranked at number 10 in the country. So Notre Dame's played both those teams. They lost the games, but they lost them by 1 point to A&M, by 3 points to Miami. Ohio State has played nobody. Let's look at Indiana. Indiana's number 2 in the country, undefeated. Let's look at their schedule. Who'd they beat? They beat Old Dominion. Wow, that's a great win. They beat Kennesaw State. They beat Indiana State. They beat Illinois. They beat Iowa. They beat Oregon. That was a nice win at Oregon. I'll give them that. That was a very nice win by Indiana. Then they beat Michigan State and UCLA. Who did they play? Nobody. You know who they closed their season with? Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue. Again, nobody. All right? Texas A&M. Texas A&M schedule, they're in the Southeastern Conference. Everybody talks about how great the Southeastern Conference is. Texas A&M played University of Texas San Antonio, Utah State. They went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame by 1 point. Great win. They beat Auburn. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Florida, who was in the throes of a disastrous season with Billy Napier still a head coach. They beat an Arkansas team that 45-42 that Notre Dame beat 56-14. They beat an LSU team who was in shambles and just fired their coach. So don't tell me the SEC is so great when you look at some of these teams and some of the underlying dynamics of these teams. They finished their season at Missouri, South Carolina at home, Samford at home, and then they go to Texas. Texas will be a good game because it's a rivalry, but again, Texas is not the team. It's like Denny Green once said when the Cardinals were playing the Bears many years ago, they are who we thought they were, and that's exactly what Texas is right now. So I could go on and on and on about this, okay? I mean, I could look at Alabama, I could look at Oregon, I could look at Ole Miss. Everybody talks about Alabama. They've played all these ranked teams. Well, that's fine, but, you know, Notre Dame's played ranked teams as well, okay? So I don't want to hear this argument about Notre Dame. And the problem is that people hate Notre Dame. That's the real problem, okay? They hate Notre Dame. Why? Because Notre Dame doesn't have to play in a conference, okay? You take Alabama, you take Georgia, take Indiana, Ohio State, let them go independent, see if they get their own network. See if NBC or anybody wants to cover all their home games, okay? They won't, all right? The reason Notre Dame gets it is because they're a national brand. Notre Dame has alumni and Subway alumni. Subway alumni are even more loyal than the alumni, even though they never went to school there. So again, Notre Dame is a draw. These other teams could not survive on their own without a conference. Notre Dame can. So don't penalize them for that, okay? Because I don't want to hear it, because all these other teams, I don't see that they're playing anybody, you know, that's any good. Tennessee's 6-2, similar record to Notre Dame. Who have they beaten? They beat Syracuse. Well, Notre Dame's going to play them. They beat East Tennessee State. They lost to Georgia, 44-41. They beat UAB and Mississippi State. They beat an Arkansas team by 3 that Notre Dame beat by 42. They lost to Alabama by 17. They beat Kentucky 56-34. Not a very stellar schedule, if you ask me. Now, they play Oklahoma this week at home. That'll be a challenging game. Then they play New Mexico State, Florida, and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's ranked in the top 10. This game against Tennessee will tell us a lot about Vanderbilt and about Tennessee. So, I'll get off my horse right now and just say that I don't want to hear any more thoughts about Notre Dame and why they shouldn't be in a conference and why they shouldn't be allowed in the playoff. I think I've just outlined a pretty good strategy as to why things are not like you think they are. So in the future, let's get off that horse and let's look at changing college football so that it becomes the right game, okay? Get rid of the conference championship games. If you're in a conference, play everybody in your conference. Whoever comes out with the best record is the champion and goes to the playoff, okay? Then you won't have any more problem. Stop playing all these Utah states and New Mexico states and Colorado states and Grambling University and all these teams. Start playing real opponents week in and week out.